federal government, APC, won against Atiku's plan to reverse petrol subsidy removal. Lagos pensioners take to the streets over unpaid retirement benefits. And peace under pressure. Ceasefire monitors deploy in Eastern DRC as government, M23 accuse each other of violations. Details in a moment. Now we begin in Kwara State in Igbesi Community in Isin local government area of the state. They have been thrown into panic following the abduction of their traditional ruler, Oba Moses Oyinloye. The monarch was reportedly abducted by armed men who invaded the community late Saturday night. While security agencies are intensifying efforts to rescue the monarch, the abductors are said to have established contact with members of his family. Our correspondent, Joshua Imarayi, is currently in the community and brings us the latest. Joshua, do let us know the latest development regarding the abduction. The kidnappers happen to be in communication. Tell us what, has there been any communication with the security operatives?
Well, good evening to you, Chisom. I'm currently live at Igbesi Community in Isin local government of Kwara State. And behind me is the palace of Oba Oyinloye, Oba Moses Oyinloye, the paramount ruler of Igbesi Community. And we heard from what we gathered from residents and the family of the Oba that he was snatched out of his bed late Saturday night, where he was taken alongside some of his properties. And if you should look to my right-hand side is some of the family members, particularly of Oba Oyinloye, as well as the last wife of Oba Oyinloye and a close ally. But we gathered that the Queen was around when the entire thing transpired. So we'll be hearing from the Queen. Ekalema. A gbọ́ pé àwọn ajínigbé wọ́n wá sí àyín, wọ́n wá jọba gbé. Ẹ sọ fún nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀.
Ìrọ̀lẹ́ aago mọ́kànlá ọjọ́ Sátọ̀dé òun làwọn ajínigbé ẹ̀ wọlé tán wá gbé kábíyèsí. Àwọn mẹ́ta náà wá. Ìgbà tán sì wá àwa wà nínú pálọ̀ mi àti kábíyèsí àtàwọn ọmọ. Àwọn wo fíìmù lọ́wọ́, wọ́n dẹ̀ jálẹ̀kùn wọlé. Wọ́n sì gbé kábíyèsí, wọ́n bọ́ aṣọ lọ́rùn wọn, wọ́n dẹ̀ mú ọ̀já tí mo fi ń pọn ọmọ. Wọ́n yà sí méjì, wọ́n dẹ̀ fi di ọwọ́ wọn. Wọ́n sì gbé wọn jáde lọ.
Àwọn ajínigbé yẹn, èdè wo ni wọ́n sọ?
Yorùbá ni wọ́n sọ, bọ̀ wọn kì í ṣe Yorùbá.
Ṣé wọ́n gbébọn?
Wọ́n gbébọn, wọ́n sì tún má dàda ní.
Àwọn mẹ́ta yẹn wọ́n gbébọn.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni sà.
Well, you just heard from the Queen. She said late Saturday night around 11 p.m. they were all in the sitting room of the Oba and they were watching a movie when some of the abductors, they stormed in with guns, machete, and immediately they took hold of the Oba, took his clothes off him, tore a shawl that she used to back her child, and tied the hand on leg.
My name is Oba.
Yes.
We understand that these abductors have made contact to you.
Yes, sir.
What are they saying?
They say we should bring a ransom of 200 million naira.
200 million naira.
Yes, sir.
Aside that, have they made any other demand?
They've not allowed us to make any other demand. They are only asking, and once they talk, they'll call that if you need our daddy alive, you should pay that ransom.
Are they making threats?
It's all that once they speak and we said that they should just try it, and we are pleading for them to release the money, to reduce the money, they will just call that's what they want to do, and that's what they want to collect.
Have you heard from police, authorities, chairman, the state government? What have they said?
The chairman was here yesterday, and our honorable as well, that is our House of Assembly, was also here yesterday. And also, we've not seen the police, but we've seen some of the soldiers, the one in Omaran, the containment, and the one from, that is here. So, but we've not seen any police around. But those are the ones that we have seen around.
Okay, lastly, let's hear from one of the close ally of the Oba with regards to his reaction to the entire incident. Baba Ekale.
Emakale.
Báwo lẹ ṣe wo kíní yìí? Ṣé ó dáa?
In fact, lọ́jọ́ yẹn mo ti sùn. Mo kàn rí pé olórí sáré wá sí láti ààfin bí wá sí ìgboro. Wọ́n ti gbé ọba o, wọ́n ti gbé ọba o. Mo wà embarrassed. What does this game mean? Wọ́n gbé ọba. Ọ̀run tí mo wá fúnra mi wá sí ààfin ni mo á rí àwọn anomalies àwọn tí àwọn people yẹn gbà bí wọ́n ṣe dá lérú tí wọ́n dá ọ̀rọ̀. Wọ́n gbé bọ́n ṣe. Ní Nàìjíríà wa náà, èmi ò rí jù lọ o, ó yà mí lẹ́nu o.
So the man, he is distraught about the entire situation, and from what we gather, this is the fourth monarch that is being abducted from Kwara State. This has sent some sort of shock communities, and most of them are fleeing their community, saying it is not safe.
Well, it's quite unfortunate we're having a bit of a network issue with Joshua there, but from what I could gather what he said, fourth monarch being abducted in Kwara State and 200 million naira currently being demanded by these culprits. We're hoping that the security operatives are on their heels, and we're going to hear some good news very soon. Now, the federal government and the All Progressives Congress have rejected former Vice President Atiku Abubakar's proposal to restore petrol subsidies if elected president in 2027. Information Minister Mohammed Idris and APC National Chairman Netanwe Yowata described the proposal as a risky policy reversal that could worsen Nigeria's fiscal pressures. Atiku says Nigerians have not benefited enough from savings from subsidy removal and has proposed a targeted, transparent production subsidy to reduce petrol prices and support local refining. APC, however, insists the subsidy removal was necessary and says the focus should remain on strengthening social interventions and Nigeria's productive sectors. In a moment, I'm going to be joined in the studio here with me by Paul Ibe, who is the media advisor to His Excellency Atiku Abubakar. Good evening, Paul.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining me. We're going to kick off that conversation right after this break. Do stay with us. Well, thank you for staying there. It is the 6th edition. And just before that break, we were talking about former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who is calling for a reversal of the fuel subsidy. And he would do that if he's elected president come 2027. Joining me live in the studio is Paul Ibe, who is a media advisor to Atiku Abubakar. Again, very good to have you, sir. Thank you for taking out the time. I was just having a conversation off air during the 2023 election. Your principal, Atiku Abubakar, fiercely aligned with President Tinubu on the absolute necessity of ending subsidy. What changed?
Today is Monday.
Yes.
Yesterday was Sunday, and the day before then was Saturday. The human nature is dynamic, and we must respond, especially as leaders. There are people who have been kept under your watch. You are supposed to minister to their needs, to provide leadership. The subsidy that was removed, May 29 of 2023, in a very cavalier way. There was no processing, the president had just been, elected, sworn in. He didn't have a cabinet. He didn't even have advisors. And he just threw it, it's gone. And more than 3 years down the line, we have seen what it has done. It has battered, it has shattered the lives of Nigerians. People are suffering. And they are playing the ostrich because it's either, they are not buying fuel with all of the fleet of cars that is available to both elected, appointed, and even those who are not even supposed to enjoy, those benefits. And so it is difficult for them to know what the average Nigerian is going through. People can't put food on the table. The cost of living is high, inflation, the cost of transportation, the cost of logistics. It's a terrible situation.
So, Paul, are you saying that if Atiku wasn't elected president in 2023, having that ideology that it was necessary to remove subsidy, you're saying that he could have woken up and then gone back on it because is that enough to convince Nigerians?
Listen, part time, you must subject situations to a review. Okay? What was in 2023 and what is now? There are a lot of dynamics. Things have changed. And that's what leadership is about. You must be able to listen to the cries and the yearnings of Nigerians. The truth of the matter is that at this point that you and I are speaking, Nigerians need somebody to lift the weight, the burden, of them, the burden of, of high cost of living, the fact that even the wages that they have cannot, it's not even a take home. It can't take them home. It can't even take them half of the, the way home. And so people are, stuck in a poverty cycle. I mean, let me stress this. If all of that is working, the Orwellian, as far as I'm concerned, that's what it is. It's just about the animal farm, scenario.
Are you saying this is a rescue plan? Because Nigerians have always complained about the economy. So is this a rescue plan?
Yes, Nigerians may have been complaining. But the truth of the matter is that how come this economy, according to them, the stars that are pushing out is working, and then more and more people are being sucked into poverty? As at the last count, it's about 140. The last 3 years, about 25 million or thereabout people have been added, to the poverty, trap. So what does that say about their so-called economic policy?
But let's be very specific on the issues, right? There were issues, which is one of the reasons, or some of the reasons, the fuel subsidy was removed. We struggled with crude theft, as you know. There was low production quotas. We're not meeting existing obligations to even local refineries like Dangote, because I watched an interview where you said you were going to work closely with Dangote to make sure that this fuel are available to Nigerians. But where exactly will this heavily discounted crude come from without further depleting our revenue, our state revenue?
It will not do that. Instead, what we are going to have is that we are going to have increased revenue.
How would
and
this
even
happen?
better GDP.
Nigerians want to know how you
I want you to
do it.
listen. There is a video circulating. It was in April. A very respected economist, Bismarck Rwani. I'm sure you know him. And he was talking. It was a nairametrics, conversation, that was going on. And he was talking about, the barrel, locating the subsidy in the barrel, which is exactly that's the policy of Atiku Abubakar. It will be very easy, because if the subsidy is given in advance in the barrel, and then the onus now is on refineries like Dangote and Boa that is coming on stream to now be able to produce at a cheaper rate. And when they're able to do that, to produce fuel, diesel, and all the other all the other components, out of that, then that will be passed on cheaply to Nigerians. It will impact on homes. It will impact on businesses. It will go beyond the filling station. There will be an exponential, growth. It will jumpstart this economy that has been made prostrate by the Bolekaja policy of Tinubu.
Now, because of time, right?
Yes.
Because you also know that the old subsidy regime, there were issues of corruption, cases of corruption, right? Smuggling these all to other countries. But aside from that, the country right now is currently grappling with a massive debt servicing crisis and a restricted revenue base. So for this to work, how would the government, Atiku's government, how do they intend to fund, both a restored subsidy and these expensive social safety nets that is already in place?
It's about creativity. There has been little or no creativity. They need to put on their thinking caps. They've not been doing that. What they have been doing is stealing. You can't say that there are no resources. We have more than enough resources.
Are you accusing this government of
stealing?
stealing?
Oh yes, they have stolen so much. The so-called windfall has only delivered wind, poverty and hunger, of the people. The windfall is only in their pocket. And even as at that, the so-called windfall, a lot of the revenue has been creamed off. As at the last count, we have asked them to account for 30 trillion naira. After they had made payment, from the Federation account. I mean, when this revenue comes in, from the sales of petroleum and all of that, they had paid money to the states, the allocation to the states and local government. The federal government has taken its own portion. There is still 30 trillion naira since they came on board, to be accounted for. And so with all of those savings, it's about stealing. They are stealing the money. Nothing has changed. It appears as if this administration...
The government says it went to debt servicing. That is what the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy said. It all went to debt servicing, which is the question I was asking. So since we have a massive debt servicing crisis,
Who incurred the debt?
I mean, previous administration.
159, as you and I are speaking, they didn't. They have added about 72 trillion into the debt listing. They met about 133 or thereabout. It's not 159 this thing. They have added to it.
Okay then. Well, I've been speaking to Paul Ibe, who is a media advisor to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Thank you so much again, sir, for taking out the time.
The pleasure is mine. Thank you for having me.
Now, we continue with the 2027 conversation. Now, the 2027 presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Adewale Adebayo, says justice, transparency, and strict adherence to the law are essential to ensuring credible elections in Nigeria. Speaking after signing the 2027 Electoral Peace Accord, Adebayo urged political parties to treat the pact as a commitment to Nigerians rather than a favor. He called for greater independence for INEC and political neutrality by the police, DSS, civil defense, and the military. Adebayo also criticized President Bola Tinubu for failing to attend the ceremony, saying his absence sends the wrong signal about the government's commitment to a credible electoral process. He says the SDP campaign will focus on poverty, insecurity, job creation, healthcare, and education while rejecting violence, vote buying, hate speech, and identity politics. Now, to discuss the peace accord even further, I'm now being joined by George Anwai, who is the Assistant Program Manager, TAF Africa. Good evening, George.
Good evening.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Now, George, the head of the National Peace Committee, the Secretariat, noted that the 2027 Peace Accord is linked to the 1999 Constitution. So there is the legality behind it. So, but despite this legal backing, critics are still dismissing the signing as a choreographed, what do they call it, lie. Where do you stand on that?
Yeah, in as much as, of course, the peace accord signed by the candidates looks like a symbolic kind of a thing, because, of course, I know people who argue on that basis will say, well, how can they enforce, how can they ensure that this is enforced? But I think since the peace accord came to be, it's really been, I mean, it started with the 2015 election, and of course we saw the impact that had, you know, during that period, because of course it was tensed. You know, nobody knew what to expect.
So you believe that accord helped?
It helped.
Dow's attention?
It helped. It helped, and you know, and that is why it's still relevant even till date. So we can't dismiss that. We can't say no, the peace accord doesn't have any value, it's adding, but at least it is, you know, calling out politicians and calling the attention of politicians to the responsibilities that is on them, which of course we have the Constitution, we have the Electoral Act, and we have the guidelines, you know, that you know, guide political parties on how to conduct themselves, on how to go about campaigning and all of that. And of course, this particular peace accord is significant in the sense that it is focusing on issue-based campaigns, you know. So and that was the first, and which is very commendable, that we should focus on issues instead of personal attacks, instead of violence, instead of you know, misinformation. You know, with the advent of AI, you know, people do a lot of things, you know, using AI, you know, to misinform, disinform, you know, the public. So for me, it's significant. Let's focus on issues.
So how do we hold them accountable, right? I'm asking this because let's take Osun State, for example, right? The same peace accord was signed, right, in Osun State, but then we now saw cases of violence, not just the violence, but also the leaders also threatening violence, calling for, you know, violent attacks against opposition. Does that really work?
So we don't expect the peace committee, we don't expect the National Peace Committee to do the work of the police, to do the work of the law enforcement agents. We have constitution, we have our laws in this country. We have law enforcement agents who are supposed to enforce the law. And where anybody, you know, goes against the law, the person should be arrested and prosecuted. So for God's sake, I mean, the security agencies must do their job. Okay. We can't, you know, we can't begin to, you know, take on the peace accord to say, take on the peace committee to say they should do the work of the police. I mean, what then is the work of the law enforcement agents?
Well, indeed, and a major controversy during the signing ceremony was the absence of key political figures, including our president, including the presidential candidate of the ADC now. Now, how, in your opinion, how do these high-profile absences undermine public confidence? I
sincerely expected to see Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, you know, the candidate of the ADC, you know, and the ADC represented. I want to see the president, you know, the candidate of the APC there. It has a way of giving, you know, the whole event a new, a different kind of. It makes everybody feel these people are committed to peace. I know the SGF represented the president, you know, to sign on behalf, but I would have loved to see, you know, the APC candidate, you know, they're signing, this, which is the president himself. It will go a long way to, you know, inform his supporters and other Nigerians that the president himself, who is the current president, is committed to peace. And that will send a strong message. Of course, despite that, we won't say that the peace accord is a failure. No, of course, other candidates were there, and the president was represented by the SGF. But I would have loved to see where the president himself is there. And Atiku Abubakar is a strong contender in this election. I mean, having people like that will make the whole thing complete.
Absolutely. We'll see how it all plays out. But thank you so much for taking out time. George Anwayi, the Assistant Program Manager, TAF Africa.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Now, to Lagos State now, where pensioners under the Nigerian Union of Pensioners have taken to the streets in Iyanopaja of the state, protesting what they say are over 16 years of unpaid pension arrears. The pensioners say the protest is a warning protest, urging the authorities to urgently pay their outstanding entitlements. For these senior citizens, the message is simple. They want the benefits they worked for, and they want them now.
Come here today to give the state government a warning protest against our coming mode of protest, because our entitlements have not been adequately given to us.
Since 2007, when we were still in service, if these arrears are paid, it will enhance our monthly payment.
My own salary is so ridiculous. It's not even up to 70,000. I retired as a director, retired principal with Lagos State. I was earning 520,000. Now I level 17. Now I am earning 58,782 naira.
They have no conscience. If they have conscience, they're supposed to have answered us for a very long time. Initially, I was even against this pension. I can tell you how many times I've written the Lagos State House of Assembly concerning this issue.
We will move down to Abuja to tell the president, call on your son to give us our right. Now, Amzat is running up to come in. We have our voters card. They should not forget that we have our voters card.
Dispute involving the Abuja Continental Hotel and the Trade Union Congress has taken a dramatic turn, with some workers from the hotel's facilities openly rejecting a picketing exercise organized by the label. Members of the NLC and TUC picketed the hotel over alleged anti-labor practices and claim that workers are being denied the right to unionize. But in a surprising twist, some employees came out openly rejecting the efforts by the union and chanting no to union, insisting that they had not mandated the unions to speak on their behalf.
They say that we must have a union in this hotel. And we have just said, we don't have a problem with that. But the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria established our fundamental right that we have freedom of association. We can say yes, we want union. We can say no to union. At this point in time, we are saying no to union. Am I speaking your mind? Yes! Am I speaking your mind?
Yes! So this hotel is not the best hotel in Abuja. If we could have union in the best of the best hotels in Abuja,
and we have collaborated with them. We have worked with them. There is no industrial issues that we have locked the gate of such hotels. But instead, we sit down on the table to resolve issues. What are they scared of? The only reason they don't want people to be unionized in this hotel is because they want to subject them to slave trade. Yes. The only reason they don't want people to be unionized in this hotel is that they want to subject them to perpetual penury. Yes. The only reason they don't want people to be unionized is to keep oppressing them. Yes. And we say no, no, no. No.
In Plateau State have called on the state government to expedite the repairs of several roads within the capital currently in deplorable conditions. They say this is necessary to end accidents on the portions of the road and shorten commute time. Our correspondent Chizoba Anyonwe is on the streets of Jos to feel the pulse of commuters on the worsening road conditions within Jos Metropolis, and she joins us live now to tell us more about this.
This is the Polo roundabout in Jos City. It's a very busy area. You can see how this tanker driver is trying to maneuver his way out of this bad site on the road. And so while people are calling for help, I have here Mr. Smith, and he's going to tell us what he thinks about this bad situation, because he said he has also had an incident here on this road. Mr. Smith, thank you so much for your time with us.
Yes, actually concerning bad road, we are pleading with the government to see what they can do, because it spoils a lot of the cars and the keke and many other motorists on the road. You have a lot of dishes. So particularly my concern is that of Rukuba Road. You have a lot of potholes there, and it's very pathetic. We want the concern of the government towards that.
Thank you very much, sir.
So thank you so much. You are doing a good job.
Thank you. Mr. Smith has shared his own thoughts on this bad road. I mean, every other person I've tried to stop to speak to us had been saying, I am busy, I am trying to catch up with something. But while all these things continue, it is a call on government to rise up to this occasion to ensure that both users and, of course, the roads are safe. It is back to you now in the studio.
Oh, thank you, Chizoba. Correspondent there, Chizoba Anyonwe in Jos, the Plateau State capital. Now to River State. The recently opened Bonny-Bodo Road in River State is providing a long-awaited link between Bonny Island and the mainland after decades of construction. But commuters are now calling for extended operating hours, saying the current 7 p.m. closure is limiting access to the road. We will be joined by our correspondent, Viola Festus, to better understand the situation on ground in River State. But for now, we'll take another break. When we return, we'll take even more stories and, of course, speak to Viola to stay with us. Thank you so much for being there. If you're just joining, let us take another look at some of our top stories. The federal government, APC, won against Atiku's plan to reverse petrol subsidy removal. And Lagos pensioners take to the streets over unpaid retirement benefits. Ceasefire monitors deploy in Eastern DRC as government M23 accuse each other of violations. Our correspondent Biola Festus now joins us from River State. Biola, do let us know some of the issues that residents and commuters have raised about this this closure time. Why is there even a closure time? I think I want to begin with that, Biola.
Well, let's start by telling you that the Bonny-Bodo Road, the road we are standing on right now, behind me leads directly to Bonny, and Bonny hosts one of Africa's biggest multinational oil and gas company, which is the LLNG. Now, this road is the first ever road that leads to that LGAs, an LGA in River State. Now, this road was open to traffic in December last year, but afterwards there comes an order for it to be closed to traffic at 7 p.m. and we open at 7 a.m. Well, it's almost 7, it's past 6 already, and we're expecting to see traffic here any moment from now. And we've had situations where motorists and commuters have had to sleep on this road. If you can take behind me, the traffic is building up already. The traffic is beginning to build up, and once it is 7 p.m. no commuter will be allowed beyond the and artisans are selling. Let's get driver. Let's get to talk to him. He just came and we do hope he would like to talk to us. Good evening, driver. We are journalists from news.
It's fine. I'm there to Bonny. For this hour now, to go and come back is not easy to me, so that I quickly going back on time, so that I'm going back.
Okay, if 7 o'clock meets you before going across that gate, you get to sleep here. Please tell me about it.
Then, if I went to the Bonny now, I can't go back to my place again. They block me because of the army at the toll gate. That is why I want to get back now, which I never close it.
All right, thank you. Have you ever had to sleep here or to stay here because the gate was shut?
I like to sleep here because my children, my wife is here. Then I want to control them in the shop.
All right, thank you so much. So those are commuters telling us that if they stay here beyond 7 p.m., they will likely sleep here or go back to
Biola.
So,
Biola, if you can hear me.
It's almost 7 and the traffic is currently building, and that's the gate over there. Just across is the gate. If we can pan to the gate, you will see that people are already trying to go across and not meet that and not miss the deadline, which is 7 p.m. And if you cannot cross this gate at 7 p.m., you have to go back. Which
All right,
is why this
Biola, if you can hear me, the man you spoke to, the driver you spoke to earlier, spoke about army being on the road on this toll gate, and we also know that you were earlier harassed by security operatives. Was it the army, and then why were you harassed?
Well, while we came on this road at about 6 p.m., we actually went to meet them because we saw men were on guard, and we met them and said, good evening, we are here, we are doing our job as journalists, we just wanted to say hello, we just wanted to greet you. And they said, okay, go ahead. But when we brought out our cameras to start filming, we're even filming first with our smartphones, and then they came at us and asked us to delete the video. They requested for the phone, but we tried to explain to them. We explained and explained, and they finally got to understand with us, and that's why we've been able to continue with our responsibilities. Of course, men in the military uniform are mounting this road, and they say it's for safety. But one also asks, if there are military personnel on this road, why then shut it against traffic at 7 p.m. for security reasons? Those are questions that authorities may have to answer.
Absolutely, questions we would definitely be following up on because they do deserve answers. Thank you again, Biola Festus, and please do stay safe. Now in Tunisia now, residents of Bengueradine in the southeastern of the country have clashed with police following the sinking of a boat carrying 15 Tunisian migrants. 14 of those on board were from the region. Protests broke out after news of the tragedy emerged, with demonstrators blocking several roads and setting tires on fire during nighttime unrest. Protesters are demanding better living conditions and economic development, saying a lack of opportunities and years of marginalization are pushing young people to undertake dangerous sea crossings in Europe in search of a better life. Authorities have not yet provided further details on the cause of the boat sinking. Now, a ceasefire monitoring mission has begun work in Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo under a peace deal brokered by Qatar. The mission is operating in Minembwe, South Kivu, where fighting between government forces and Rwandan-backed AFC M23 rebels has intensified in recent weeks. Both sides have accused each other of violating the ceasefire. The deployment follows a November 2025 peace agreement aimed at establishing a framework for lasting peace. Meanwhile, Congolese government and AFC M23 representatives agreed last week on a new roadmap for negotiations, raising hopes of renewed progress in the Doha peace progress. French President Emmanuel Macron has welcomed Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman to the Elysee Palace for talks on major geopolitical crises. The meeting also focuses on strengthening economic ties as France and Saudi Arabia seek to deepen cooperation across trade, investment and strategic partnerships. The talks highlight growing rapprochement between Paris and Riyadh amid shared interest in regional stability and closer bilateral relations. Now, Yemen's Houthis claim that they attacked a Saudi oil tanker in the Red Sea with a ballistic missile as tensions continue to threaten maritime security. The Houthi military spokesperson Yahya Saree said the tanker Amzan was targeted off Yanbu, claiming the strike was accurate and caused a fire on board. The group also claimed several vessels fled the area following the attack as the Iran-backed Houthis pursue what they describe as a maritime blockade.
صدق الله العظيم بعون الله وتوفيقه تمكنت القوات المسلحة اليمنية من استهداف السفينة النفطية أمزان التابعة للعدو السعودي شمالي البحر الأحمر أمام سواحل ينبع، وذلك بصاروخ باليستي، وكانت الإصابة دقيقة ومباشرة بفضل الله، وأدت إلى نشوب حريق في السفينة وهروب عدد من السفن الأخرى كانت متواجدة في منطقة الاستهداف. تمكنت القوات المسلحة اليمنية بفضل الله من تنفيذ عمليتين عسكريتين. الأولى استهدفت تحشيدات سعودية مكونة من رتل عسكري كبير محمل بالعتاد العسكري في منطقتي العبر والوديعة، وذلك بعدد من الصواريخ البالستية والطائرات المسيرة، ونتج عنها إحراق وتدمير أكثر من 10 شاحنات محملة بالأسلحة كانت قادمة من الأراضي السعودية لاستهداف الشعب اليمني.
U.S. President Donald Trump said on Monday he will double tariffs on Canadian vehicles to 50% starting January 1st, 2027, escalating trade tensions with Ottawa. The hike would cover cars, trucks, auto parts and steel. Current U.S. duties on Canadian autos are 25% for non-U.S. content, while steel generally faces 50%. The threat follows failed Friday talks to avert new 50% U.S. tariffs on select Canadian goods that took effect on Saturday. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney announced retaliatory tariffs on U.S. steel, dairy, equipment and electronics effective September 8. Trump accused Canada of ripping off the U.S. Trade talks remain suspended. And Dangote Petroleum Refinery has expanded its free fuel delivery initiative to multiple Nigerian states, including Kano, Imo, Anambra and Nasarawa states, to cut distribution costs and ease pump prices. The program, which started in Lagos, Ogun, Rivers, Kaduna, Abuja and Delta, has the refinery absorb haulage costs to deliver products closer to retailers. Group Executive Director Fatima Aliko Dangote said the goal is to ensure domestic refining benefits rich consumers. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria welcomed the move, saying it eases financial pressure, improves cash flow, and reduces risk for marketers. From that is all we have at this hour. But before we go, let us take another look at some of our major stories. We told you that the federal government, APC, won against Atiku's plan to reverse petrol subsidy removal. You also heard that pensioners in Lagos took to the streets over unpaid retirement benefits. And finally, we brought you a report that ceasefire monitors have been deployed in Eastern DRC as government M23 accuse each other of violations. Remember, you may send in your eyewitness report. We want to see what you see to the WhatsApp number on your screen. Follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Go TV channel 23, StarTime channel 274, on Avo TV, and of course on YouTube. Well, many thanks for watching. I am Chisom Okafor, and I'll see you another time.